Mike, Tonio.
Oh, more people are coming in. The waiting room's filling up. I have a lot of note taker apps today. Awesome. Hello, all. Happy Friday Eve.
You're hilarious.
My bad jokes.
You know,
I'll,
there's an open
I'll
mic
take Friday
on
Eve
Sundays. You
on a
should
weekend.
come.
Oh, sorry, Holly. Go ahead.
No, I was just inviting Ashley to the open mic on Sunday nights. There's actually some really good material there. If not, I'll just steal your joke and see how it lands and let you know.
Oh my gosh, take it, and I'll come and watch you. I'll support you. I'll
8,
happily come and watch
9.
and support you all.
I actually see, assuming John is John Lopker, I see 9 of us here, and we're not expecting Angela, correct?
Correct.
All right, so that's all of us then. Why don't I call the meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Okay, is there a motion to approve the October minutes?
Motion.
That's Walter. Is there a second?
I second.
I saw Toby. Any discussion? I don't see any. And those of you who I can't see, you got to let me know somehow or another that you're how you're voting. All those in favor, let me know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Henry, you're a yes, correct? Great. Okay, that's 9 of us. That's all of us. Moving on. Current issues. I don't see anything on the agenda. Does anybody have anything?
Can I ask a question? Someone was going, I'm afraid I'm bad at names. Someone was going to have a discussion with Aaron Tomez, and we all contributed some discussion points.
I think that'll be part of Ashley's report.
Oh, okay, grand. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Do we have anybody from government here? I really don't see anybody. So moving on. Committee updates. Communications.
Yep. So for my social media update, I posted quite a few more local events this month, which was exciting just to kind of keep our page updated. I shared the I believe it's like the event that's happening across the way that you had shared out, Bob. I think it's like the LACMA Art Fest. And then I also shared the Pumpkin Bash that happened on Sunday, and just other little things. I also started posting our lovely board spotlight. So Holly, you were my first one that I spotlighted. So I don't know if you saw it yet, but loved your photo, shared it. We got some great comments about you
I
on.
got some direct messages. So your social media is working.
Yay, awesome. So that was exciting. So I'll just be doing again, kind of scattered throughout, so it's not every day, but then I'll keep posting everyone about just how awesome our board is and the things that we want to contribute. So that is the social media update for this month. Newsletter timeline.
Okay, next. I guess newsletter timeline would be Nicole.
Yeah, we're well underway. Just sending reminders to Holly and Toby to make sure you're making progress. That's all my reminder is. Shout out to Ashley for being the early bird this quarter. Great job. But it's very important that we finish next week so that we can get to publisher before the Thanksgiving holiday, since we are looking to deliver on Small Business Saturday, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So
I'm really excited to go around and look at the new bike routes. That's the purpose of it. Then I'm just going to talk a little bit about biking in LA and the plans for the Television City biking changes. So we're just trying to keep informed about the wonderful opportunities and activities here at PLBRA.
Yeah, the bike racks are great. They're starting to fill up actually at the different towers. People are parking their bikes there, so that's
That
good.
that is
Yeah,
great. But that's going to be my whole journey. I want to see every one of them, and
I
then
know, I know. They look really good.
I'm
I'm
going to
glad
report
people are
those
using them.
pile of bikes in Garage 3. Just I got to now. I can't look at them anymore.
Give me 1 second. I got to respond to an email.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a procrastinator, so thanks for the reminder.
You're
very much.
welcome. While Bob's doing that, I think we can just move to gym and pool updates with Toby and Shelley.
Thank you.
Um,
Hi, everybody. Can you hear
so,
me?
yeah.
Hey, not too much this month from me, just that they hired a masseuse for that room. He does not live at Park La Brea. Nice guy. And yeah, you can get information there, if you're interested in it. Or you can support our sponsors, the newsletter as well. We also, followed up on a couple different technical issues that were going on in the gym with regards to the cardio equipment. Requested some new things in there in terms of just like stretch bands and equipment that we would like to have. Beyond that, I don't know how many of you have been to the pool recently, but I've counted every time I've gone that there's less than 12 people there. So I plan on meeting with Aaron and Chuck, requesting the meeting anyways, to talk again about why we can't have a separate pool membership. Many of you, if you've been following this story, have remembered that we asked this a bunch of times and they keep, well, not they, I should say, the gym management claims that it's not in their business model, but I really fail to understand how not having people at your pool versus having people at your pool works for you money wise. I think that, I've listened to a lot of what your concerns have been, and people have said, and understandably so, they don't want it to get crowded. So I think that there can be a limited amount of pool pass only memberships. It would benefit them, it would benefit us, and a lot of our seniors and struggling families. So I plan on meeting with them and introducing that. So if any of you go to the pool regularly, if you can let me know how many people you saw that day, what time you were there, Shelley at PLBRA.org. Any info I can use to help our cause, I'd appreciate it. And that's it for me.
All right. Thank you. Anything on activities?
I think that's tabled today.
Okay.
Could I add something about the pool? So the heater's broken there for a couple of days. They don't know when they're going to fix it.
It
And
is?
yeah, in the lap pool. I don't know about the other pool.
Oh,
One of the heaters. And they got rid of 2 benches in each of the locker rooms and only replaced one. And they've told me they're going to replace the other one, but it's been 2 months now. So they're just cheap.
Oh, wow.
I understand that the guy who runs the place has some connection with the management here. And I looked at it, doesn't fit in our business model. What a bunch of bull that is.
Yeah,
Like saying screw you.
yeah, that's what it
pretty
is.
much. And the other thing they tried to say was that they couldn't take credit cards or something. It was just ridiculous. I mean, you can put a square reader on your cell phone. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But I will definitely ask Jay about it. If you could just put your email in the chat for me, and then I'll follow up with you personally. Okay.
Shelley, I can connect you with Dan if he doesn't want to put it in the chat.
Okay, sure. Whatever works best. It's fine.
All right. Okay, so now moving on, security committee.
Nothing really new to report. It's been very peaceful, very quiet. I am interested with regard to anything Aaron Tomez had to say about the gatehouses and the gates.
All right. Movie committee, anything?
Nothing to report.
Okay. 2024 elections committee.
That's me, I guess, just for wrap ups. I did want to report specifically that Prop 33, which Park La Brea endorsed early, which was the expansion of rent control, is not going to pass. And so certainly a lot of families who are struggling with rent are disappointed by that news. And that's not a political statement. I'm just sharing some concerns of residents. We also had an endorsement. Did we endorse for Attorney General? I'm sorry, I can't remember.
We did not endorse in the DA's
Okay.
race.
So I think that's the only endorsed related update that I have.
Yeah, the other endorsements were Laura Friedman
Right.
for CD 30. She won.
Right.
Yay.
And Rick Zabur for AD 51, and he won.
And then Senator-elect Schiff.
Yes, and then Adam Schiff for U.S. Senate. Did we endorse in that?
We
I'm
did.
not sure
Yeah, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, he won.
We prevailed mostly, except Prop 33 is what I was really trying to highlight.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Why did Prop 33 fail?
Because a ton of money got spent against it. And also, a lot of housing organizations were against it. They were afraid that cities would basically abuse rent control in order to stop developers from coming into their cities. Anti-growth cities would use it, would abuse rent control to keep housing out. That was the fear by housing advocates.
I can add.
Henry?
I can add that was a very well-founded fear. There were local electeds saying that's what they were going to do. So that definitely made a difference.
And perhaps not the best attempt at rent control. And for those that want to organize around that initiative, I think we can and should facilitate some of those discussions and try again in 2 years, right? But I'm not sure this is the space to get into how people feel about the
Did the
outcome.
bike lane go? Do you know?
I don't know anything about a bike lane on the
I'm not
ballot.
sure if that one passed, Toby.
I'm sorry, what's this about a bike lane?
To have a bike lane, I think it was on Fairfax.
I don't recall seeing it. I don't recall seeing anything on the ballot about that.
I saw it, but I didn't follow all the
Okay. Okay.
Toby, I'll research that for my article and I'll let you know. Thank you for that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so I guess next is my report. First, the housing department, the city, and the city attorney have again reported out the right to counsel ordinance, which will at some point go back to the city council's housing committee. We have supported the right to counsel ordinance. We've requested a change. That change has not yet been made, so I will, and I've had the opportunity now to talk to a number of current and future city council members about that specific change. So hopefully somebody will put it on the table. The specific change which we have supported is to make notice an affirmative. It's to make notice a part of the cause of action rather than lack of notice and affirmative defense. So next, the big thing in local elections that's going to matter to us in the shorter term is the result in CD 14, where another very much pro-tenant elected official, candidate will be joining city council. Isabel Arado is 10% up on Kevin De Leon. She's going to win that race. I think she's probably already declared victory. She is
What's her name?
Isabel Jurado. Isabel with a Y. Ysabel. And Jurado is Jurado. It looks like she has beaten Kevin De Leon. Will be joining city council in December and adding another very much pro-tenant voice to city council. Another pro tenant candidate who was running up in the valley to succeed Paul Krikorian lost, which in my view is not a surprise. I think it's much harder to win a pro tenant campaign in the valley than it is on the east side of Los Angeles. So at any rate, that just adds to the strength of tenants' rights issues, and I'll continue to foster our connection to those. Couple of other things that I didn't put in the agenda. We have been asked by Television City to send a representative to the Planning and Land Use, City Council's Planning and Land Use Committee meeting on December 3rd. That is a date I'll be out of town, so I can't do it. And what I have told them is, yeah, we're discussing it internally. And oh, by the way, we'd really like Michael to come out here and give us a presentation. Anyway, we can make that happen first. So we'll see what happens. But at any rate, if somebody is interested in attending, it's got to be an in-person. There won't be a Zoom option. So if anybody isn't interested in attending, okay, Holly?
Yes, and if you want to loop me into those emails, I really feel like we've asked for this for over 9 months, and they made it seem as though that was an easy request. So I'd be happy to needle them.
Yeah, well, I can handle the needling. What I want to know is, but you're interested in actually going to the Planning and Land Use Committee meeting?
I was planning on going anyway, so
Okay.
I can go as a representative if it's in agreement with the board.
Yeah.
You were gonna be my choice, Holly, and you volunteered. I didn't even have to try to twist your arm.
Nah, I'm fascinated by these things, and I'm applying for a round one initiative for a couple nonprofits. So I'd love to hear how these planning meetings go. Thank you.
Hang on one second. Oh, finally, I spoke to I went to the Pumpkin Bash on Sunday, and it turns out that the city attorney's office had a representative there, their community outreach person. It was actually kind of an interesting conversation because I asked him about Council File 22-0178, which we fondly know as utility pass-through transparency, and said, hey, so this was a report back motion that passed on February 14th, 2023 as a 60-day report back, and we still don't have one. What's going on? And basically he said, can't really defend that, but I'll look into it and see what's going on. So if and when I hear back from him, I will let you know, but I'm basically, pulling all the levers I know how to pull to try to get some motion on that. I am sadly becoming more and more convinced that what's happening is that the city attorney's office is deliberately slow rolling this because landlord interests really don't like the idea. And so it's basically a pocket veto instead of, actually respecting the will of the people who were elected to represent us. So
what was the word you used? You said he said I can't really blank this.
Justify. Her spokesman said she can't really justify
the report back being 22 months late. That's the math on that, my friends. 22 months late.
And counting.
And counting. I think as I have spent an exorbitant amount of time at county supervisor meetings over the last 3 months, almost every Tuesday of my life, I think that there is something to be said for people showing up to the city council meetings or calling in on the Zoom option to make general public comment. Public shaming does help move things along, or at least get somebody to get mad about it on the city council. So we could do some collective organizing around having residents speak in general public comment, because general public comment can be about anything that's not on the agenda. And then we can shame them that this report back is late, to give Bob some grease for this.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, actually, I think that's right. I think we should think about organizing a day when we can just go down to city council and do that. We want to try to pick a day that's on the quiet side, because the last 2 times I've gone down there to give public comment, I didn't get to give public comment because there were too many other people there. You know, both times I hit something.
Right.
I hit a day with high interest in something else.
I agree. It would have to be strategic timing. Yeah. We should
Okay.
follow up on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me for interrupting. I'm sorry. How's Angela?
Very in the middle of everything.
I mean, I know that she was doing some very intense fundraising technical work in connection with legislative elections in a couple of states.
Thanks. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So I suspect that she's catching her breath. Okay, at any rate, that's the conclusion of my report. Thank you. Ashley.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. And hello again, everyone. So I'm going to quickly share my screen. I just wanted to showcase this really fast. So let me change that and go here. So last month in our board meeting, I did make a call out that I am scouring our Park La Brea community Facebook group and just reminding people that I am trying to create this like friendly neighbor directory for our community, right? So we can all help each other, or if there's a service that you're looking for to, reach out to your neighbors first. And so I just wanted to show that this is currently living on our PLBRA.org website. So feel free to check out this website if you don't usually. We post a ton of stuff out here, a ton of your resources as well. As you can see, evacuation assistance form, emergency COVID relief, eviction defense toolkit, all those fun things. But just right at the top, you can already see that we've got some great things already inputted. Dog walking for people who might need dog walking, notaries. I see a ton of people post in those groups about being a notar or needing a notary. Cat sitting, car rentals, maybe having an Uber driver if you feel that you want like a more personal option, family and photography. So again, keep encouraging your neighbors, or add something yourself if you want to, because I think this is a great resource to share with everyone. And again, just support your neighbors first before seeking elsewhere. So yes, Colonel?
Hi. Always nice to hear from you. Have you vetted any of the people in areas where you have to have a license? Many people on this board I know are notary publics. We have to be as lawyers. But there are many people who may represent themselves. Have you checked with the state boards to see that everybody who puts something down is what they say they are?
I have not. I will not lie and say that I have, but I can actually go back and do that. So that way I can make sure that everything's validated.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, of course, thanks.
We actually, but that does raise another point. We should expressly say on this that this is presented for informational purposes only, and that PLBRA has not done any kind of investigation or anything like that in order to and can't vouch for the quality of anyone's services. We should say that explicitly.
Definitely. And there is also a section in that grid calling for certification or license numbers as well. So if they do have that, and a few other people have put that in just for that kind of extra comfort of knowing that they are actually who they say they are. So I'll add both of those. I will add that communication verbiage, and also just reach out to individuals themselves and just do some fact checking. Never hurts. So my next report is hosting a Park La Brea Neighbors Market. I have seen 2 separate Facebook posts recently that garnered well over like 20 comments each, and individuals wanting to do some sort of like flea / like neighbors market. I did talk to Erin, and she would be on board for that as well. So that's something that we can kind of like tie our name to and have that going. I would anticipate doing like a Sunday, just from like popular feedback of wanting to do maybe like a once a month on a Sunday so more people can be involved. And so I'm going to kind of write up a expectation memorandum, if you will, of what people should be coming, because I want individuals to not just randomly show up, leave the place dirty, not have any guidelines. I do want this to be as structured as possible. So I'll keep you all in the loop, and feel free to also be part of that planning process, because if we do want this to succeed, I really want the first one to be just as organized and safe and clean and structured as possible. So that way we can do this for many months and years to come.
Actually, I think that's a very awesome idea. I am a little bit worried about trying to pull it off in 30 days. So I just want to name that because we don't have a whole lot of time. And one chronic issue that we always have for our other events that I'm just naming so that we can pre-think about a solution is that Park La Brea management will not provide any tables or chairs. They don't have them and they won't provide them. So just naming it so that we don't forget to tell all of the vendors that they have to bring their own table. And that sometimes is a barrier. And so I usually end up borrowing some from my school district and bringing them to try to help people out, but that's not always possible. So it's a beautiful idea.
I appreciate that, and I want to make sure that everyone can participate, but also, yes, trying to not rely on too many offerings that we can't get, right? Like the tables and chairs. So logistics to think about. If it's not within the 30 days, I'd rather it be really well planned out and take a little bit longer of a planning process instead of like throwing something together and both the vendors or our neighbors that want to participate or the ones attending are not getting the most satisfactory experience, right? So yeah, thanks, Nicole. All right, so I also did meet with Aaron, and so I just want to caveat this with, I didn't get to answer everyone's questions or things that they submitted to me during the week, because again, this is something that I do out of my own personal free time. I take time out of work to meet with Aaron, and so I spent an hour to go through as many things as possible. So I think I captured as much as I could within, again, that crazy Disney hours, right, that I have to work. So kind of kicking that off with, let me just go down the list. So first was basement doors, always open. She definitely acknowledged and confirmed that is an issue. She is addressing it first with the trash vendors. She thinks it's because the trash vendors with their big like dumpster, like rolling carts, that they're leaving them open and then not shutting them back again. So she is communicating with that and trying to have more patrol come through and really monitoring that. But she said, if you do see that, send that email to Alice George. And nope, Nicole's like, nope.
Literally had this exact conversation every 4 months for 2 years. And that's always the excuse that they give. And I asked the trash guy if he's ever been trained to open and close those doors because I'm out there walking my dog, and the answer is no. So I know that's what Aaron thinks the problem is. What happens after that is not working. So I'm just like, that's the same answer she's been giving for 18 months.
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah, no, this is good. I have not been here 18 months. So this is the first I'm hearing about it. So in the next meeting, I can also just say like, then what is your follow-up? Like what is the training? I come from a project management background and that's my job. And so kind of like the whole like start to finish and getting everyone ramped up and knowing their expectations and everything is really important to me. And so I would love to hear from Aaron and the team. How do they get everything from like onboarding day one all the way to kind of like the finish line? So I will write that down. And then Nicole, this might be the same one, for maybe the same response about package locker rollouts. The response that she gave me, so I know, I'm like, it's probably gonna be the same thing you've heard then. But she said that they're not fully launched yet. They're about 40% of the rooms have been launched, but they are still working on that. And that, I'm just reading through the notes, that when packages are not put into a parcel penny locker, it's usually because the Amazon individual does not know the code. So again, like I think that goes back to your question of like what happens next, like how can we resolve that, and what kind of better communication and training can we provide there? So that's that. From a few of our other board members, I got a request to ask about Rami's replacement vendor spot in Burnside Circle. The response that I got was, this is why we have rotating food trucks happening in the circle now, because they are not going to be replacing Rami with another vendor. And so having those rotating food trucks weekly is the kind of like compromise or new Rami, if you will. So any questions or concerns about that? Colonel?
Hey, this is Shelley. Thank you for asking the question for us. And I'm sorry if I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's in the same center. Did she say anything about those like pole structures that are in Burnside Circle and what that's going to end up being, or what the purpose for those were? I don't know if it's like the reconstruction of the little mini pavilions that were over there, or what.
I don't think we got to that. Um, the only other thing was that she was looking at adding more seating space to better activate like that area. Not sure if that's what that is for, like maybe like like a little pergola or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that might be for it. But that's what she said. They're looking at creating more of like able to sit down and hang out in Burnside Circle. Kind of.
So.
Colonel?
Was anything excuse me, was anything said about the replacement or upgrading of the fountain, which is presently in a dormant state?
So I do believe that the direction that they are going is in creating more of the seating space to activate that. I'm not sure if they will be moving forward with the fountain.
Thank you. May I ask a question as a former legal officer? As many of you know, I was the counsel for the PLBRA Residents Association for many years. Would you review your insurance before you set up the PLB Neighbors Market? It's a wonderful idea, but I think you should look at your current insurance coverage if you're going to be the sponsor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thanks, trying to be mindful of time because I do have a few other things to go through as well. Garden unit storage pods, I asked about those because I'm currently on block 17 myself, and I always see some storage pods. And again, response that I received was those are resident items. So when a unit is experiencing major renovation, such as like water damage, construction, things like that, and one of the individuals on my block had major flooding during that last kind of like heavy raining season a few months ago. And those pods are to store resident items. And so if they are there for a prolonged period of time, that's usually because the resident is not taking their stuff out and putting it back into their home. So if you do see that happen, take a photo and send it in, and they can like follow up and make sure that's happening. But those pods are actually just resident materials and items due to whatever reason is happening in their unit. So there's that. What else did I cover with her? I don't know if John Locker's on here, but he did ask.
He is.
John, you're on here? Oh, yay. Okay. So you had asked about the Carson Square planters. She's working on getting those removed. She's added those to the list to make sure that those are removed. So if you don't see those removed by I'll just even say like by Thanksgiving, let's follow up on that because she said that that is being communicated to maintenance to start removing those like big empty planters. So we'll see. Like we'll see. Uh, and then last but not least, just in the time that I had to talk to her again, the gates. And I think this is one that Walter was excited to chat about. So she completely agrees. She is working on trying to make it our clickers to open up all those gates. It does not work perfectly. And so I think she's still working on a process of making sure it works. I don't want to say 100% of the time, but like a better percentage, right? So that way, as it rolls out, it's not just more complaints like this never works. And she also needs to take a look at the what's it called? The parking, like swinging thing, the gate, if you will, to not close too quickly onto the next car. Because again, it is just by a clicker. So she's aware and I think agrees that I think there's just a lot of people coming in to Park La Brea without being checked. I think if everyone was being checked, there would be a whole like a backlog of people, right, coming in. And so with our clickers, I think that would be wonderful to have like a clear separation, right? If you have a clicker, you can get in, you can enter on the right side. If you don't, you're on the left side.
I just want to quickly share that that is how it used to work.
Sure.
When I first moved in 2020, resident clickers on the right side worked. And that was deactivated a couple of years ago, maybe because the technology was failing or, like whatever the issue was. But that was deactivated and residents were not told that it was deactivated. I just kind of like eventually talked to security and they told me that. So that'd be cool if we could go back to that system because it worked well in the past.
You know,
Yeah.
backlog argument, which I've heard before from Aaron, that really is only applicable to, the rush hours in and out. Okay. And I'm not sure how applicable it is even then. Okay.
I've been told by some long-standing residents that it was in fact an issue.
Yeah, I when I commute to work and so like in those rush hours, I mean, it sometimes I see the cars trying to either leave or even getting home off Third or the one by the Grove. They're already like back onto the street.
Yeah.
So again, it might just be more rush hours, but I have seen it myself as well that sometimes that line does get long. So I can only imagine when we add that little bit extra nuance to it, that it might be longer. But I agree with you, Nicole. I think a clicker would be amazing. And again, I'm not sure why it failed last time, but I think maybe that's why she's looking into that before rolling it back out again to make sure it really does work. And that's just again, I'm just relaying, I'm just the messenger relaying all that information.
Actually, let me make another suggestion to pass along. Rather than a clicker, when I drive on the toll roads, I've got this little transponder on my car. It's just a little decal sticker, which it's got to be real cheap. And something or another receives the signal from that transponder and knows that I'm allowed to be on there and it knows how much to charge me. So I got to believe that something like that is even simpler than a clicker. So
Yeah.
have her look into transponder systems, transponders that could be passed along to to residents with
That'd be
parking
great.
passes.
If we put it on our window, it would not be transferable either, right? You couldn't just hand your clicker to a
Ex-
different car.
Exactly.
Both of the barriers could be operated by a transponder. So in rush hour, there could be two lanes, admitting residents. Okay, obviously, a person who's not a resident is not going to get through. He's going to have to talk to the gatehouse, but I don't know how many instances of that occurs at the rush hours. Probably very little. All right, so
Yeah, I think I will definitely send a follow-up email Because there's again from like Nicole, from things that we just chatted about, and those past topics from Walter and Bob. I'll send like a follow-up email and just try and get more guidance as well. So that's all really appreciated. So that, I mean, alone, again, trying to just understand the background and having those conversations, that's all we could cram in the hour that I had with her. But again, talked about the flea market, talked about those basement doors, package locker rollout, Burnside Circle and Rami's replacement, garden unit storage pods, Curson Square planter removal, and having a gate clicker so that way residents can go in and there's less just people coming in that don't live here. So those are all the topics I covered.
Actually, I'm happy, to help you out here. I'm freer because I'm retired. So is this, if you're advancing these things, I'm happy to participate and follow up with, Aaron and Alice. If we've got a program, I'm more than happy to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone on the board, would be welcome to jump in, schedule time with Aaron. I can also, the next one, just invite everyone if you want, if you wanted to, as optional, and if you can make it, then awesome.
Ashley, I would suggest you run that. I suggest you run that by Erin before doing it. She might actually have a view on it. Prior management did not want to meet with the entire board.
Sure. Okay, yeah, definitely.
I'm suggesting we don't do this in a random way. I mean, if there's a program of meetings to have with management to follow up on these initiatives, I participate in that. I'm not suggesting chaos because that's not going to work. Okay. No.
Yes, yeah. So currently, just my process is just a once a month follow-up before these meetings, so I could provide any updates that we can. Yes, Colonel.
As a point of information, any of these physical security devices, whether it be a tag that Bob uses on and I use on the highway, or a click or anything, there's a monetary cost. And this is the cost we do not wish to be passed on to our brother and sister residents. So I think we have to consider this in why management may be reticent in doing certain things. There are many worthwhile security devices available, but there is a cost. I just bring that to your attention as a point of information.
Well,
Thank
if
you.
we're going to get charged, let's be honest and realistic about this. We are going to get charged one way or another. Either this is going to be part of the parking drill, or it's just going to be a rental increase of some sort. We're going to get charged. Okay, so we cannot stand in the way of improvements if these things are reasonably done. Okay, because I'm sure Park La Brea is not interested in altering all this technology for fun. Okay, we can anticipate there's an issue here. Okay, but
Thank you.
Agreed.
Fireworks update?
Yep, and my last thing that I just had on there, I received an email from a resident just wanting to make sure I start promoting that the Grove will have fireworks on 11/25. That's for their tree lighting ceremony happening. And so again, with fireworks and individuals who may be experiencing PTSD, animals who might not enjoy fireworks, right? To just keep in mind that that night there will be fireworks just across the street, and so I will keep promoting that out. I'll probably put that something into a news like email blast through our MailChimp, our social media posts, so that way individuals can just be ready and do the things that they need to do to be safe and okay. And that's all I have. Oh, Holly.
Thank you. I'm getting there. And duly note that there will be extreme impact on our traffic, foot traffic, car traffic. It's like a concert. Thank you for hearing.
Oh, definitely. Thank you. And with that, I have nothing further to report.
All right, thank you. We are tabling the treasurer's report today. Donald?
Bob, this is the second time that we have had to table the treasurer's report, and you indicated that there would be a written report on our financial status. Could you give us any guidance in that area?
I don't have information on it, but we can look into it.
I'll follow up again this weekend, Colonel.
It's critical, sir, that as a member, we know where we stand, what we have in assets in the bank. Are our bills being paid? So what revenue we have flowing in? Even if we do not have to file an annual report under the exception of Corporate Code Section 8321, we still have to know where we stand.
Understood.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Secretary's report.
All right, everybody. So I've been working on my renewal email reminders, and I have another round coming out at the end of this, thank goodness, long holiday weekend. So far we've had 19 members renew. And so I'll be emailing the other, oh, what's that math? 119 that have not, no, 109 that have not renewed yet, another round of reminder to renew. And we're also working with a couple members who joined mid-year, so their auto renewal is not, it's not a January renewal. So we'll be working with them to change and kind of reset those dates for them, because many of our members are enjoying and want to stay on the auto renewal. And we also accept checks. I want to be clear. You don't have to pay online. However, kind of an unsettled business. Actually, I was going to ping you about this weekend to see if we could tag team this. We don't have a mailbox anymore. And since management asked us to move towers. So maybe they could put a box in the office, or how can we reestablish a new mailbox in the mailroom in Tower 34, question mark, So in the meantime, for those residents that have contacted me about renewing by check, I'm just arranging with them to either meet up with me, as the Colonel did so well, or they could also mail it to my apartment, and I'll of course get it over, to Angela to deposit. So we're working through that little glitch, but I'll stay on top of that renewal campaign. In terms of the board election for 2025. So our election, right? Not the November election, but our election. I just want to confirm and make sure I'm interpreting and have the bylaws in my understanding, and then we need to agree on a date, because I thought we had made one, but I didn't write it down. So that's my fault. I believe the last date for a member to join, to be in good standing for the purpose of being able to vote, is December 1st, but I
don't think that's correct.
Okay, what is it?
The record date is 30 days before the date of the annual meeting. The annual meeting,
December 12th.
It would, no, December 13th.
13th, yes, got it. Perfect, great. And
so
that
that's in a week. We all have
December 13th.
Holly, everybody that's on the board this year is in good standing to vote. This would be for anybody that is a new member that joins. You must have joined by December 13th to be able to vote on January 12th. Yeah, great clarifying question.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
I am also asking all of my wonderful colleagues here, and maybe some of our other frequent followers that always come to the meetings, if you are interested in serving on the board or renewing your effort to serve on the board, you do have to formally notify me by email. So far, we have 2 board candidates who have notified me of their intent to run for re-election. The other 7 of you on Zoom today would still need to send me that email. I will peer pressure each of you privately to stay on the board, just in full disclosure. I think we have a really good thing going here, and I would like it to continue to go. But also any other resident that would like to serve on the board can and should email me at secretary@plbra.org and notify me of your intent to run. There's a release form you have to sign. And that is so that we can verify you actually live here. And then we'll get your name on the ballot and we'll get your information to put out to all active members for a little kind of voter info guide, if you will. We are putting the intent to run. Let me finish one second. We're putting the intent to run and the annual meeting notice in the December newsletter. So that will go out. I think that date's November 30th-ish, whatever that Saturday is. Thank you, Ashley, for working on that. I filled in a couple of those pieces today with these dates. And then I'll also do an email to members about interest in running on the board. You do have to be a member to serve on the board, but that doesn't mean that you can't become a member and then also on that same day give me your, your notice to run. So any of our 12,000 beautiful neighbors should consider. And then our
Nicole, on deadlines, what we've done in the recent past is use the same deadline, use the same record date as the deadline for declaring interest to run on the board. And that would be my suggestion this time around.
Sure. Does that work for everybody else?
So December 13th would then be the deadline for declaring interest to run.
Okay. Got it. Ashley and I can make those communication adjustments. Our annual meeting is January 12th. That is an in-person meeting in the theater. We must make quorum to hold a valid election, and you must either vote in person or give your signed, sealed proxy and ballot to a voting member to come vote on your behalf. It's my least favorite task of the year. But nonetheless, it is the most important task that we have, right? So we do need to appoint an election auditor, preferably today, but we could do it at the December meeting if we need to. We do have two meetings to do so. We've already given notice to management and invited our city councilwoman to be our guest speaker at the January 12th in person, everybody in person election meeting at the theater. That's a Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. So our two pieces of business that we need to resolve really quickly. Do we want to decide on the election auditor today? And we need to confirm the date on which we will host the Zoom candidate meet and greet. And I offer to you for consideration Sunday, January 5th in the afternoon, late afternoon, early afternoon, or Thursday, January 9th at our usual meeting time of 7 p.m. If any of the current board officers have conflicts or opinions, please let me know, because we need to confirm that date so that I can give that save the date to all of the candidates.
I usually have an executive committee meeting on the second Thursday of January. I don't know whether it's going to happen this January, but January 9th would be the second Thursday.
Any conflicts for anybody with Sunday, January 5th?
Well,
Just as if it's before 3 o'clock, it's okay with me.
It's okay.
2 p.m.
That's going to be opposite a football game. That's going to be opposite a playoff game, I think. We may lose interest. Honestly, I think we're better off doing it Thursday night.
Something where a team throws a ball, Bob, because you're talking to me, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's something that a lot of people are going to be interested in.
No, I'm kidding. I understand.
I'm
So-
voting for just the second Thursday because the time is more available for most people, and hopefully Bob can be available.
Let's go with January 9th at 7 p.m. And as was true the last time, any candidate who cannot attend, I will happily read your statement on your behalf.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Okay, election auditor is our last item of business.
Yeah, the official title is Inspector of Elections.
Sorry, thank you.
I'm gonna virtually raise my hand. Can't see if anybody else has.
We can hear you, Shelley.
And her, but what are the duties for point of note, please, or point of clarification? Thank you.
They affirm the roster is completed with me. They audit that all of the ballots that are received match the official voting roster and that proxy process is followed, and then they count the ballots and determine if a quorum was met and if candidates met the threshold for election.
And by the way, we changed our bylaws last year so that if we don't get to quorum at the annual meeting, although I certainly hope we do, then we can complete the election via email, taking email ballots from those who have not already voted.
And those email ballots get sent directly to the Inspector of Elections,
That is correct.
not to me.
That's
Yes.
fabulous. I second my second of Shell. Thank you.
It can't be a board. It's a conflict of interest for any of us to do it. It has to be an outside person.
Yeah, I mean, we've been using Bruce Altschuler. Has anybody got any objections to continuing to use him?
I do. I've just said this, so nothing against him. It's so expensive. It's over $1,000. And I feel like there's so many people here or that we know or have in our networks that aren't a part of the board, that are judges, lawyers, notaries. If we could get some volunteers to count it and do it for free and save us a lot of money that we don't really have to spend, I think that should be something that we try to do, at least attempt to do this year.
We've been, I think that it's problematic to use somebody within Park La Brea. There have been
That's
issues.
fine.
Hang on.
We can extend our network. I'm okay with that. I'm just saying, at least consider it. However you so define it, I'm not beholden to any area. Just saying that we all know a lot of people and.
It's a fair point, well made, Shelley. I think that perhaps some of us that are in a space where we know a lot of legal people could put out a query for a pro bono. I mean, if you recall last year at the last minute, Bruce had a medical emergency and could not come, and I got a lawyer who's a sub to volunteer to come do it.
Although all she did was collect the ballots, Bruce did the rest of the work.
Correct, but she secured them and took them and, made
Yes.
sure he got them, so that we didn't have a chain of custody issue. So she, for example, would be somebody we could go back to and say, hey, would you be willing to do this pro bono? It's worth inquiring about. I think Shelley makes a fair point that it is expensive, but I do think we need to make sure that we continue to have an integrity tight process. That should be paramount.
For sure. And I'm happy to start the process. And I don't have as big of a professional network as some of you guys have, but I do have some people and I'm willing to ask around all of them and try to come up with some names. And at least try. I think it's a, sustainable duty of ours to at least try to save the money and see what we come up with.
Does everybody, Colonel, I'll come right to you in just 1 second. For board members, board officers, apologies. Is everybody okay with spending the next couple of weeks trying to see if we can find someone to do it pro bono? And then if not, we can vote to hire Bruce at the December meeting.
I love that. May I trouble someone to give me the details and the time involved so I know what the ask is, please?
Sure. Bob, can you send that information to the board?
Yes.
Thanks.
I can estimate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Colonel.
Mr. Altschuler is a distinguished member of the bar, active in Beverly Hills, and a gentleman above repute. He's outstanding. If you pick him, you'll be completely satisfied. Bob and I worked with him in 2021, and he's a very well-known and respected member of our profession. We also have used in the past, before your time, Stephen W. Kramer of the Kramer Law Group, who is located across the street from the County Museum of Art. His rates are much lower because his overhead is lower. He would also perform a very fine service. I feel professionally, and Bob may concur with me on this, that very few lawyers will do this for free. They will have to charge because our time is the only asset we really have. So I don't think you're going to find a competent person of Mr. Alschuler's repute or Mr. Kramer's who will do it for free, but you may find that one attorney is less expensive. You might want to go out and get 3 or 4 people to quote you on it, but you can never go wrong with Mr. Alschuler.
I want to echo Colonel's sentiments. Being the person that worked with Bruce for the last 3 elections, he does do a very fine job for us, and I completely agree. However, because I'm in Kiwanis, I have access to over 20 equally reputable lawyers who do nonprofit volunteering all the time, to make themselves feel better about humanity. So it's a worthy point, Shelley. If not, we know we could fall back on Bruce and be deeply happy, with the product. Maybe less happy with the price, but
Yeah.
he's excellent. So I don't think we have anything to lose by waiting a few more weeks to see what we can dig up. And it's a great point, Shelley. So I'll make sure everybody come with legitimate, willing people if we're going to bring people for consideration to the December meeting, because we have to vote on who we're selecting. Okay, thanks, team. Otherwise, our December meeting is December 5th.
No, we voted to move it because I'm going to be out of town. It's the 12th.
You are correct. Good catch. It's December 12th. And that is the Friday Eve of all Friday Eves, actually, because that's the Friday Eve before the 3-week Christmas break starts.
Love it.
So we'll see everybody in person on December 12th. And with that, Bob, I just think we're on public comment.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any public comment? Donald.
2 points. Sir, what time will the annual meeting be? We know it's January 12th.
2 p.m.
Thank you. And second comment, we had a beautiful newsletter in September. The front page was a work of art. Unfortunately, the masthead had a critical error. The volume should have been volume.
Harris, you raised this point at last month's meeting and it was noted, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know, ma'am.
All right. Any other public comment? I don't see any. All right. Next meeting is December 12th in person at the theater. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Walter moves, and I think I heard Shelley second.
Yep.
Okay. That's not debatable. All those in favor, let me know.
Aye. Aye, aye, aye.
Okay, I think that's all of us. We are adjourned.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. At 8:02
Early.
8:02 p.m.
Yes. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, everyone.